Welcome back. I'm delighted this morning on the second half of our Village in Motion to introduce Kathleen Taylor, who is our social work manager. Welcome, Kathleen.
Good morning. We've done this before.
I was going to say, you and I think, have been on programs before, haven't we?
Yeah. You look familiar.
Yes, you look familiar as well. Kathleen, what you would like to bring us up to date this morning on social work activities?
Yeah, I mean, I think I just want to take an opportunity, as I do every once in a while, to remind people that social workers are a resource for all of our residents on campus, and then to just talk a little bit about what we might be a resource for. You know, when would a resident reach out to a social worker, for example?
That certainly is a good question. I think the truth is that the average resident has never been in contact with a social worker. I mean, we've never had opportunities to use you, and you're such a critical resource in this community.
Thank you. Thanks. I mean, I think that what we really want our residents to know is if there is anything going on in terms of their health care needs or their adjustment to the community, to just let that your social worker, your neighborhood social worker, be that initial point of contact. You know, we're not saying we have all the answers or all the solutions, but that we really can help people get in contact and connect the dots to all of the different services that are on campus.
You're really a wonderful resource.
Yeah, we try to be, and especially you know, our healthcare continuum is something that Green Spring prides themselves on, as we should. It's a wonderful group of services that we've got together here on campus. But I think sometimes people are challenged with how do I get there? What really is it that I need? Do I need home health? Do I need home support? And instead of just trying to figure that out on their own, what we would say is just reach out to your social worker and we'll help you with that problem solving.
Well, I think particularly with the increasingly large number of newcomers, this must get to be a real issue with social workers. I mean, the need to reach so many newcomers.
Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of newcomers. Hopefully our newcomers are going to come in and hit the ground running and are not going to need social work for a while. But there are people that do come in and then immediately might be having either some health problems, which are sort of, you know, unexpected, or just sometimes moving into a community setting from their own independent home can be a little bit stressful. So
a little bit stressful.
Yes. Pretty much
stressful. Pretty much stressful. We all remember.
Yeah, that it's just, you know, social work is a confidential ear that you can reach out to, talk to about what's going on with you, and you know, sometimes that's just enough to get you back on track, to be able to kind of sort through what your feelings are, especially if you're starting to feel stressed or overwhelmed, especially like you said, when you're just moving into the community and there's that transition piece.
I think that the confidentiality piece is really an important thing to stress. I think residents think of social workers as someone having our back.
I hope so. Al, that's great. I love that. I mean, that's exactly what we would like to do. I mean, it's really about being there if there's a need. But I mean, obviously, you know, everybody here is very competent and you know, has a lot of years of experience and living behind them. So it's not.
But
like
this is a whole new chapter.
It is. It is. And it's some of the things that happen are just very specific to this, living in this kind of environment.
Kind of a community.
So it's another thing that we can do, and we touch on this in the show, That's Life, that we do, is that a lot of the experiences that residents have are similar, you know, and I think that sometimes we can help normalize those experiences for people. It's not, it feels horrible, but it's, you know, it's something that a lot of your fellow residents have gone through. To help people to see that in the context of it is almost a common experience And then hopefully that also helps you to see the potential to be have a friendship with another resident too, to understand that another resident might be able to really help you through that experience as well.
I was talking with a friend of mine who's been here, I think 8 or 9 years, just last week, and she was saying that it took her almost 3 years to observe all the niceties, was the way she put it, the way people act and what the rules, the ground rules were. And she's not a terribly social person, but she said it took her that long of observation to really understand what the ground rules were.
Right.
For a community like this, because they are different than any of us clearly have ever experienced. And the only analogy that always comes to mind for me are dorm rooms, where
right.
we're living close to one another.
Right, right.
Now, different problems, of
yeah,
course.
But still, you're right. You have to kind of negotiate what your personal boundaries are.
Yes.
You know, I mean, you know, it's a pretty social environment here. I mean, people can be as social as they want to be, but you know, some people are not by nature, you know, going to be getting out there and just, you know, being around people all the time. They're going to be more comfortable just being in their own apartment and doing the things that give them pleasure. And you know, that's fine. You know, that there's no pressure, you know, to be that social person if that's not who you are.
That's right, and respect for all different kinds of likes and dislikes.
Right, but my sense is that there are people like you, no matter what your type is, what your personality type is. There are people like you out there in the community that hopefully, you know, you can make a connection with. But again, that's something that social workers can do, is kind of, as a resource, we know what other resources are out there. So like the newcomers, the functions that are out there now, the newcomers luncheon and the walking tours and those kinds of things, we can help people be aware of those. And you know, all of the, of course, community resources has all the different groups that are happening. We can direct people in that direction. So just because there's just so much information coming at you all the time.
That's certainly one of the things. I mean, for most people, I think it's a couple of years before there's really a full grasp of the resources here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you think that it took that long?
I do, and I think it's like we try to give people a lot of information all the time, but I think if you're not at the point where you want it or need it,
you don't retain it.
Yeah, it just doesn't sink in. So that's why I think, again, you know, having the social worker to be that person where you can, you know, kind of do that check-in and say, you know, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm feeling, and then maybe we can give you ideas that, yeah, the information's been out there, but it hasn't really, you haven't made that connection with it until now, that might be something that would be a good thing for you.
You often talk about the relationship between the resident and the social workers as a partnership, and that really, I think, in an operative sense, is exactly what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely. I think that there is a steering away from social work sometimes because we may have the reputation of being kind of very directive, you know, like we're the fixers and
the do-gooders,
the fixers, and you have to just go with whatever we say. But it's absolutely not. You know, what we're trying to do is meet with the person and really work with you to identify what you want. Sometimes people get so overwhelmed they can't figure out, you know, what they want. So to be able to have that conversation with a professional communicator that can really help you tease out what it is that is going to meet your needs at the time. You know, what's gonna make you happy? What's gonna, you know, resolve that stressor, and be able to find out the answer that's right for you. And you're the only person that can tell us. We can't tell you what's right for you.
You know, I think that's a very critical point that you just raised. There certainly is some, I think, some false impression on some folks' part that you lay down the law about certain things, that you have rules and that you will enforce them with residents.
Yeah.
And you're speaking to that, Kathleen, that no, of course that's not the case. You're not making the rules. There are rules,
There
of
are
course, in the
rules.
community.
Right.
But you, on the other hand, are not wagging your finger in our face saying, you must obey that rule.
Right, right. What we're saying is if you don't obey the rule, there's consequences.
There are consequences, exactly, exactly.
So, you know, and everybody knows that, but,
right,
you know,
exactly.
it's just, you know, the idea that we are going to try to help people to adjust,
Right.
but based on what, you know, what they feel is the right thing to do.
Yes, but on the other hand, you are not the enforcer.
Oh, please no.
Right.
No, no, no.
No, that would not be a reputation I think you would want.
No.
You know, we might talk a little bit about our program and the fact that it shows specific instances when social workers are actually helping residents.
Absolutely. Yeah, the That's Life program that we're doing, that's that
Monthly program.
Monthly program.
Every fourth Monday.
Right, right. And some repeats, right? If you don't catch the show, sometimes there's some repeats.
I think the repeats have stopped.
Okay.
They were showing them on Saturdays, and I think that has ceased.
Okay. So anyhow, so see it when it's up.
Right.
But also, I mean, absolutely, that's our goal, is to be able to provide some representative situations that, and I think that we're getting feedback from the residents that this is occurring, that people are listening and watching the show and then going, yeah, this is something that resonates with their experience, and that's exactly what we're trying to do.
Certainly relating to the situations.
Yeah.
We should maybe also point out that the characters that we have are continuing and evolve in terms of their issues and concerns
right.
as the months go on. So this is our 13th month
Yeah.
of programs. So we've been going for quite a while.
Yep. It's been great.
And we figure we're not ever going to run out of issues of concern to residents.
No, not at all. You know, this community is an infinite source of material.
Indeed. Some more inventive than others.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you embellish a little bit. But
No,
just
surely
a little,
not.
Just a little. But it's fun, yeah.
It is fun. I think the characters have had fun doing it. We should add that nothing is scripted, that we know the issues involved, and we do have a dry run, but this is really improv.
Yep.
In every sense of the word, and the social workers react in a realistic way because they don't know quite exactly what the individuals
That's right.
is going to bring to
Yeah.
them. So
And our resident actors are amazing. So
aren't they amazing?
yeah, they are really good.
They've been so convincing. In fact, we've had the difficulty of residents thinking that they were true stories, not fictional.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a continuing problem. Kathleen, I see our time is about up here. Is there anything you would like to leave us with? I assume that everybody has met their social workers. That's not a problem or an issue.
I would hope so. Sometimes it's just timing. So, I mean, we do the new resident visit when people move in about 6 weeks after they've been
6
on
weeks.
campus, somewhere, you know, a month to 6 weeks, just to say hello. But yeah, and hopefully, if the resident hasn't stopped by to see their neighborhood social worker, just to stop by and say hello is always a great thing. And there's one other thing I wanted to say before we sign off, is just a promotion for my Parkinson's support group, which is next Thursday, so that's July 23rd, from 1:30 to 2:30 in the town center classroom. It's a group that is starting to get bigger all the time. There are a lot of people on campus that have a Parkinson's diagnosis, so it's a great support group, great people, really willing and able to kind of, if you're somebody who's newly diagnosed, to be able to get some perspective from someone who might have had the diagnosis for longer.
Is
but
this
just
also for caretakers?
Absolutely, and we do have, sometimes we have care partners that are coming, husbands and wives, or other people who are involved with supporting somebody with a diagnosis. So it's a good mix, and we're really open and welcoming of people to come for the first time. So I'd like to encourage people that have a Parkinson's diagnosis or know somebody that has Parkinson's that they are involved with to stop by.
All right. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thanks for coming today.